Hey everyone, Stacks here. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today I got a preview for you for Cable #1 by Gerry Duggan and Phil Noto. So I'll go through the preview real quick and give you some of my thoughts at the very end, but before we do, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and hit that like button because I'm going to deliver this time, and make sure you leave a comment down below at the end and let me know if you're planning on picking this up at your LCS on Wednesday. I do have to say that there's a couple very obvious and predictable tropes in here that I'm just going to have to call them out as we go through them. I mean, I'm excited for this book, but I can't say that I'm excited that Gerry Duggan's writing it. Now, I know some people won't agree with me, but basically look at it this way. If you've enjoyed Marauders, if that's your jam, then you will probably enjoy his Cable. But if you think like I do that Marauders is fluctuating on a 5-issue run where you got 3 that are boring, 1 that makes you want to drop the series, and then 1 that's finally good, then you probably ought to be a little bit concerned about this Cable series going forward and spending the $4.99 on a #1 to get it. So the book starts out with, well, trope #1, the unnecessary cursing. Right out the gate, you have Cable coming out and cussing at Wolverine. And what you have is them dueling inside of this, what they're calling the quarry. Well, Wolverine, just going at Cable and slices his rifle right in half. Well, it's at that point we get trope #2, which is cutesy pie. Young Cable, in the middle of the fight, throws up the T and says, "Time out." We can argue if this next point is a trope or bad writing, but it's a mischaracterization of Wolverine, who throughout Dawn of X so far has very much said that, look, there are good people on both sides of this, both mutants and humans. But anyways, Wolverine looks at him and says, "Is that a joke? Bringing human ideas like that into our dojo?" Basically, his timeout doesn't slow down Wolverine for long, though. He takes a swing, and Cable just tells him stop, and stops his swing using his telekinesis. He then, just gives him a hard right and puts Wolverine on his back. Then he uses the pieces of his rifle that were just cut in half and throws them right at Wolverine, sticking them right on the end of his claws. It made me think of those, like the cat claw, for cats, the little plastic claw clips you can put on so they don't scratch up your couch. It made me think of that for some reason. Call me crazy. In the crowd, you have Callisto and Gorgon who are cheering this on while Cable just tries to keep the offense going and pushing his advantage since Wolverine has his claws sheathed at the moment. It says here that he's trying to use Logan's weight against him, and my assumption is that he's still using his telekinesis to push him down on the ground and get the pin, and that's what he does. And Silver Samurai announces Cable is victorious by pinning. He also says, "Witness mutant supremacy," which is really confusing because he just defeated another mutant. So, yeah. From there, the proportions on Cable get a little weird and his arms get really short. Callisto and Gorgon pay off their bets. Apparently, Callisto states that she would have never bet against old man Cable, and Gorgon's just laughing about it. And Wolverine sits up and, hawks one on the ground. And, well, that's it. That's the end of the preview. He does state that he's got a double date. It's been hinted at, I think, in some of the other previews that I've come across, that he's dating the Cuckoos, and at some point, not just one of them. Granted, I'll admit that I liked him and Laura, X-23's back and forth and Fallen Angels a lot better than I think I'm going to like this. But hey, we're not there yet, so we'll have to wait and see. And just for anyone who thinks I'm being unfair to Gerry Duggan, I've read several of his books now. This isn't my first rodeo with him. Actually, my avatar that I used, the Infinity Gauntlet with the claws, was for one of his books that he wrote, Wolverine Infinity Watch #1. I reviewed that series pretty early on in my channel, and it was one that I was really excited for. I mean, just the cover image alone I fell in love with the gauntlet with the claws coming out of it. And it was coming off the heels of Infinity Wars, and it was the Infinity Wars where Gamora got all the Infinity Stones and warped reality, created the Infinity Warps. It was really not, he wrote that, and it was okay. And heck, now that I think of it, I covered all this in videos as well. I have a whole Infinity Wars playlist as well. Anyways, what ends up happening is you have Wolverine and Loki team up to go chase after this individual who's, when at the end of the Infinity Wars, Adam Warlock, basically, he got all the stones together and he gave the stones a choice. He allowed them to become sentient beings and go and merge with another human or another life form out there. Well, it just so happened that one of them, like the Time Stone, merged with this guy that was in prison, and Loki and Wolverine end up chasing him. The concept was interesting. The execution was less than beautiful. But after that storyline, I've always kind of been cautious about Gerry Duggan, and I'll be honest, Marauders hasn't done a lot to help that. It's kind of been very hit and miss. There's been, every time I start getting back into it, there's an issue that comes out, and I'm like, what is this? All that being said, that's kind of why I'm hesitant on Gerry Duggan. Between Infinity Wars, Infinity Watch Wolverine, and Marauders, he hasn't blown me away. I hope he does well. I hope he knocks Cable out of the park, because I'm all about some good storytelling, because that's really what matters at the end of the day. Anyways, guys, I've talked way too much this time. I hope everyone enjoyed the preview, and I hope everyone comments down below. Let me know if you're picking this up. Let me know if you think this looks good or not. And let's all just have a moment of silence for Old Man Cable. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Real Comic Stacks. Out.